Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the top 5 best weapons in Code Vein 2. There's a lot of unique movesets in this game, and some weapons that just bring a greater value to the player than others. I'll be breaking down all the best weapons here with some honorable mentions after beating the game and fighting over these bosses multiple times. There's some cool weapons here, like this one here. If you do the charge heavy attack, you do a fire attack. However, if you press the charge heavy button and then go into a quick attack, you do an ice attack like that. So there's some pretty unique movesets that we got here on these weapons, which we'll explore. That weapon being one of our first honorable mentions here with the Twin Fang Blade. So this one I like to have with the Sunblight build-up, as it naturally comes with both fire and ice damage on the weapon. So this weapon works well with like Venom or that Sunblight there to give you some extra damage on top of it. Of course, you can just go without anything for that fire and ice damage. And it comes stock with the Falling Sun weapon format here, which is nice because it gives you invincibility when you jump up and you create a fire surface, and large bosses will be stuck in this here, which is really nice. Our next honorable mention is a status-based weapon with Pizar's Venom Pike here, which has Venom build-up. There's like not really any weapons with this in the game, but the great thing about this is the halberd has really great reach on it here, so the attacks are solid. You do have that nice jump back attack there with the charge heavy. I like moves like this. It's kind of like the Bloodhound's Finesse here, giving you a bit of a mobility on top of the great reach that this weapon has. Nice weapon skills as well, but the Venom can be applied pretty easily, and it's easy to get the Venom mark in this game, and also to craft your own Venom items. So I wouldn't say that this is like super necessary, but halberds aren't really that amazing across the board. We do have the Lances, Lance of the Moon King and the Pioneer Queen's Glaive. They're a bit later in the game. Obviously very powerful weapons, great movesets on them with a lot of crazy stuff, but with this overall list, I wanted to list off the weapons that don't have insane stat requirements or burdens, because honestly, having a fast dodge matters a lot in this game. Plus these weapons you get at the end game, so I will be doing a separate list for New Game Plus. Another quick honorable mention to the Argent Wolf Blade here. Two of the Argent weapons actually give you a really cool effect where if you do a charge heavy attack, you shoot a blade off, so this is nice at range. What's great about that too is it actually is a blood attack, so you can get your Ichor back a little bit better, so that's a solid choice. Same as the Argent Wolf King's Blade here. It has that long-reaching attack on the charge heavy. There's a lot of unique charge heavies in this game, and some of them are very impactful like that. Now, I do have some other honorable mentions, but I just want to end off here with the Glutton's Eye. The reason I'm not going to be putting this in our top 5, a 17 mind stat requirement is insane. Now, there is the Glutton's Eye EX, which you can get in the end game. However, the end game, it takes a lot of grinding to get that weapon, so not even worth using for your first time playing through the game. This is decent enough, though. You can get some blood coats late game that will accommodate for this and let you get that quick dodge off. I do like this charge heavy there, using 2 of your Ichor points to do a range attack, and it's honestly very nice because it will likely hit the boss, and it comes out really quickly. Rune Blades being a new weapon type, they are honestly quite strong. So for our 5th place weapon, Twin Blades are some of the best in the game because of how quickly they can apply statuses. These have the fastest moving attacks in the game. Now, one thing is for sure, there's one that you get early on that's actually insanely good with the Ancient Hunter's Twin Blades. The reason this is so good is it has very low requirements, but it scales well off of our stats. With B scaling in Dexterity and D+ at our max level here in Strength, we can actually get a pretty solid damage number off. The moveset, however, is one of the big things about this weapon, and actually one of the best blood codes in the game. You can actually get late game, which will scale very well off this, as well as if you put points into the elemental attacks. And you actually get this weapon very early on in the Clifftop Cavern. And the reason it's so good, this charge heavy attack is amazing. It gives you range, I missed it there, but this attack here doing a lot of damage, but also letting you do a dodge back from the enemy and then going in for the kill just like that is amazing. The best part though is this weapon actually applies buffs like Venom really well. Blade Dance boosts this damage up to 50%, and you can do some pretty insane stuff with this Blades. Now, I also like the Scorpion attack here, which gives you a dodge back and then an attack forward like that. So with this blade, we actually have a lot of mobility, a lot of buffs, and overall just a great moveset that's quick. There's other Twin Blades that are nice as well. I'm partial to the Jade Curved Blades here. These do have better scaling as it's B+ in Strength and Dexterity. However, 10 burden in both our Strength and Dex is a little bit tough. There's not a lot of blood codes that can accommodate this while giving you the quick dodge. This one does have with a different bit of a charge attack here where you got multiple attacks all at once. And then the quick attack is different too. It's a little bit delayed for the first attack, but then they come out a bit faster afterwards. And if you want yourself the Jade Curved Blades, you actually just go straight to Jose's castle, and it's actually just right here where you're gonna find it. It's a little tricky to get to. I also want to mention that Twin Blades have the most elemental damage types of all weapons. Like you got a shock-based one, you got fire-based ones, you got blood-based ones. I also do want to mention that the Fangs of the Hunter are amazing, and the Twin Fangs of the Lone Wolf, if you got the DLC or the early access period, deluxe edition, I should say, you can get this weapon. It's really strong too. I didn't want to fully include it on this list. It does have a nice moveset. I just don't love the charge heavy as much, but both the DLC weapons are very powerful, so you could also get by with the VK dual blades. They have a higher scaling and dexterity, but again, I just find the ancient hunters are just so good. Great charge heavy attack here. They got a quick venom application here, no gimmicky moveset. It's just a strong weapon that you can get right from the start and carry you to the end game. Now in fourth place, the Ame no Habakiri Greatsword is a very powerful weapon. I'm not going to include it here. It is strong, so don't get me wrong. This is a great weapon. Not everyone has access to it. There's a lot of other one-handed swords that are nice, but I gotta say that the Carmilla's Thorn here is extremely great. Another thing I do want to quickly mention with any type of weapon is if you're using the associated mastery here, they typically increase the stat that you're going to be using the most. So with the Twin Blades, you get a 20% damage boost, but it does have a 4 dexterity burden, which could put you out of the quick dodge. And I will say, Carmilla's Thorn is amazing, but another weapon that's very similar is the Ice Blood. This is a legendary weapon that gets up to +5 here, and has a similar moveset. However, its charge attack does this ice attack instead, which is nice, but it does have a higher burden cost between different stats. The move here, the secret art for stall that comes stock on the Carmilla's Thorn here is really nice, because this gives us a bit of ranged attacks here, and also, like the other one, it does have great range. So here is the attack here. You got that long range wind blade type attack. But our charge heavy, similar to the the twin blades, is great because this closes gaps, and it actually does quite a bit of damage. Rapier style weapons are always a favorite of mine in Souls-like games, just because you can do like that dodge back into the charge heavy attack, and it just feels so satisfying to land it here. Normal attacks without charging up the heavy does a 3-stab poke there, which does relatively good damage, but the charge heavy just does a lot more. But still, it's nice to have a weapon that you can attack with from range if you wanted to. I still think Venomous Shot is one of the best due to how powerful Venom is in this game, but being able to attack with this and then follow up with a charge attack that closes the gap that wasn't a charge attack, you can do some pretty crazy stuff with this. This weapon also does benefit from Blade Dancer as well, getting like that high health scaling, but the Deluxe Edition Katana also being a great weapon. A lot of the one-handed swords were quite powerful. It was tough to pick between them, but I just think that the moveset that you get with the rapier-style weapon is just a little superior due to the ability to like jump back and then go into your charge heavy attacks. If you do use this weapon a lot, you'll get more comfortable with the range. It's a good one. This weapon is also really easy to get. You can just purchase that Magmel there. You may have to go talk to Jadwiga upstairs, so do some exploring around Magmel if you aren't able to purchase it. Now our third place weapon. I honestly wanted to put this higher. I think this is the most unique weapon on this list. Hammers, usually very slow. Every other hammer in this game, very slow. This one, however, has some of the coolest movesets in the game with this insane charge heavy here, which lets you fly up in the sky and then bonk your way down. This is a very powerful weapon you can get near the start of the game. This is called the Forma Mech Hammer Mjolnir. Now, this weapon you get as soon as you get off Magmel, you can come over here, go straight past Jose's output, and you can purchase it from Jadwiga's minion right there. This weapon is amazing because it comes with this move here, this big explosion attack, which has been super useful during the early game when you don't really have a lot of large sweeping attacks. Great for mobbing, amazing for bossing though, because with this weapon, you're still very mobile. And while you're leveling up, there's so many blood codes that can actually accommodate this very well. Like Valentin's here gives you the quick dodge. I was shocked that I was able to maintain a quick dodge with this hammer through the entire game. Actually pretty insane for a hammer of this size. Normally in games like this, they weigh you down too much. So being able to use a hammer that's got a fast moveset had me really hyped. And it's got a pretty solid attack on it as well. And there's so many really fun combat format that you can put on hammers like Mighty Smash, Coffin Breaker, Gaia Impact here. And honestly, the moveset is super satisfying when you actually launch these off on the enemy. 8,000 damage is absurd. They do a lot of damage, but the great thing about it is you got so many cool moves like that. I want to just first mention, if you're playing Elden Ring and you like Lion's Claw, this is not, it looks like Lion's Claw, but you can get knocked out of the air. You don't have actual like protection when you're in there, no super armor. Kind of annoying, but it's just the way the weapon works. I should actually clarify, all hammers work this exact way. You don't have that super armor there. This would make them a lot better, but every other hammer in the game, I gotta say, just feels so slow compared to this one. With it being able to do a charge attack there at 8,800 damage, that's nuts. But also just being the quick moveset that you got here. I also love the jumped heavy attack here. This is an amazing attack because you can actually engage with this, especially if they're trying to block, and you can just like overcome it easily because it has a huge hitbox. So yeah, the Mjolnir hammer is one of my favorite weapons in Code Vein 2. If you hate hammer builds, give this one a shot. You might end up liking it because it's not like others. And second place, you've probably used this move. It's insane. Ancient Hunter's Rune Blades. These things are insane. They're also one of the most fun weapons that I've used in the game recently. I love it. Martial arts with the blades following you around doing the attacks in unison with you is awesome. But this one in particular has a very fun attack. because this comes from the sky downwards. So certain bosses, like that big tentacle monster thing you have to fight that has the tentacles that are weak, this will allow you to hit them really easily because the attack is right way above your head. But the big reason that we like to use these is Stalking Saber. This comes stock on this weapon. You can get it a little bit later on, but this lets you go move around while the blades attack the enemy like you see there. This is great because it lets you then use things like the Blood Reaver blade, which has some of the highest damage in the game. But we also have this spinning attack here, which is great against large bosses because you just throw it onto them like that, and then you do your special attack with a Blood Reaver blade. You can also throw the Stalking Saber on and focus on casting from range. So there's so many ways to play this, and it's insanely strong. And what's great is Holly's Blood Code actually works very well with these, so you can get this through your playthrough. The thing is, with a enhancement like Ice, Fire, Lightning, or Blood on it, you're getting S+ scaling in your willpower, which is a pretty easy stat because of Holly's Bloodline. This also gives you that quick dodge that we want, but the thing is, coming stock with Stalking Saber is really nice. There's only two rune blades that have that, and one of them is that really annoying weapon I mentioned at the start of this video. But getting Whirling Shredder on this thing is really fun. You don't have to, you can really just use one or two of these, and then use things like Blade Dance, because every additional hit will stack this up. And Whirling Shredder hits multiple times to stack that up to max really quickly. Venomous Shot is also really nice too, again at range, but you can also put Venomous Mark on these because they're a multi-hits type of weapon. You can also use a Poisonous Weapon Solved and then put it on the blades here, and then it's nice because you can just go reapply that onto the enemy there. You got your debuffs. You can put on things like your Blade Dance there, and then just cast from range, stacking up insane amounts of Venom. Venom's just super powerful in this game. But I love this charge heavy attack is so satisfying because it's got it actually very crazy amount of reach to it because your character slides forwards when you do the kick, and then the blades come out an extra reach in front of you. So yeah, this is a weapon that is very much worth using, and you can actually cheese a lot of bosses just by having the blades do their thing. I will also mention the Blood Rune weapon is very fun as well. Glutton's Eye, I mentioned previously, is great too. I like the Forme Mech Arms Lycaris. This is a late game weapon. After you do Holly's questline, you go back to the very first place that you met Holly, and you're going to get this weapon here. It looks cool having these big hands go around, and then you also have special moveset that lets you swirl them around your character. You can also get this on any of the other ones here. I don't like this as much as the others because it's a little bit harder to get as many hits off on, but Rune Blades are really fun. This is the Blood Rune here. It looks super cool. I love the kicking attack that you get with this one. It's not as satisfying as that overhead kick. It's still really cool though. So yeah, if you want to make the game easy mode, Ancient Hunter's Rune Blades, which you can get literally at the start of the game. Similar to the other Ancient Hunter, they're literally just over at the runes here. I got a pin on C right where they are at. And finally, what I believe to be the best weapon in Code Vein 2. Not this one, but it's close. I actually think the Raider's Bayonet is the best one. This is the most normal looking of the bayonets. It doesn't have anything flashy about it. However, its ranged attack here is nice. So basically what it does is you shoot it off and it has a little projectile that stops and then charges out at the boss. It does a lot of damage there, as you can see, and it's also affected by Blade Dance. So if you shoot off and you get your Blade Dance scaling up, you can actually do insane amounts whenever you go to fire another shot. So yeah, this damage from this gun is just absurd. All bayonets in this game are actually pretty crazy. There's like kind of a three-way tie here because it depends where you're at in the game. At the very start of the game, the silver shot you get right at the start of the game, it's a shotgun. It's strong, but it's not going to be the strongest on this list. They have a quick moveset too, so you can get in, start blasting, do your thing. But the big thing with these weapons is the mobility. So drawback shot gives you this crazy move that shoots 3 times, and yes, it does impact and apply venom on the enemy. You can also buff up your weapon quite a bit too. There's 2 buffs that I really like to throw on here with the Blade Dance and the ranged attack buff called Ranged Impact, which comes stock on this. So these 2 here, very powerful because they scale up the damage on everything that we do. And that lets us use drawback shot to clear our range, and my favorite, Heavenly Strike. Now, this is a little bit tricky sometimes, but most bosses actually have a lot of opportunities where you can get this off. And that is what makes this super overpowered. So it actually hits 6 times, unlike the it hits for twice as much damage as the drawback shot. So 3 shots there, it's going to apply twice as much venom, and it's just a very powerful attack there. So the great thing is, if it's aggroed onto your teammate, you can see him blast away there. We almost have the full thing of venom on, and then 1 drawback shot, he's got venom applied. You can also just blast with these shots too, and you can see with the Blade Dance, our damage is getting insanely high here. But honestly, if you can just continually spam this attack over and over again, this is going to be enough to take out most bosses really easily. And of course, there is flasher ones like the Resurgence Flame Bayonet, which I showed there earlier. There's also like the Nameless one, the Rubelet Piercer here, Argent Wolf Bayonet, the Burning Disaster. These are all good and fine. They have decent stat scaling. I just found that going with the Raider's Bayonet here, great damage, great scaling. Everything about this is awesome. It has a high dexterity and a high willpower, so you can use it with Holly's blood code easily. And then the grenade launcher. This one scales off strength and dexterity. Similar concept here. I like this one because the grenades that it shoots, you only get 9 of them, but they pack a punch there, and they stagger bosses really easily. So if you're thinking strategically with this, you can use it to basically keep chaining and using your different abilities to make it so that the bosses can't really deal with you. And I also want to mention the Fusillade Rondo skill here, which is super flashy in how it looks, but the damage from this is the same as Drawback Shot, although it does give you the opportunity to do a follow-up attack there, so the damage will be a little bit higher. I don't like to run this typically because I think that getting 2 buffs, the Heavenly Strike and Drawback Shot, ends up being the best. And I do have a build on that. If you want to see how to just destroy every single boss in this game, I would highly recommend checking that out. So yeah, that's what I believe to be the top 5 best weapons in Code Vein 2. Again, I'm doing this list based off how effective they'll be over the entire playthrough. I will be doing a New Game Plus playthrough in a moment here to get a better understanding of how these weapons will provide in a new playthrough, because some of the end game weapons are amazing. It's just you only get to use them really for a couple fights, and by that point we already got our favorites. So let me know your thoughts though. I'm always curious to hear people's favorite weapons in these games, and yeah, hit the subscribe button below if you found this video useful, and I hope you guys all have an amazing day.